Subscribers to NewOrleans.Football get all of our news and analysis. Make sure you are signed up for the website. Go to NewOrleans.Football/subscribe. Use the code NOF to save 20% on your first payment. We got a breakdown of Kool-Aid McKinstry coming up tomorrow, so make sure you are signed up to get that. We got a great show for you guys today. We're going to keep breaking down the draft class, look at the future prospects of the team, and so much more. We're coming to you from our new studio on Veterans Memorial Boulevard, and our show is presented by PJ's Coffee. And if you need a new car, make sure you check out my guy Matt Bowers at one of his many dealerships throughout the region. He has all different types of cars, but the one thing that's consistent at all of them is the customer care, the service, and the pricing. You'll get the best of everything. So if you're in the market for a new car, check my guy out today. All right, let's get into the show. The show is proudly presented by PJ's Coffee. PJ's Coffee has some of the best drinks that you can find. They have locations all over the city. They have pastries and everything else you need to get your day started. So go check them out. This Mother's Day, surprise her with dazzling diamond studs for under $500 at Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. Or you can elevate her style with an elegant emerald or ruby diamond band at $1,250. You want something more modern? They also have stunning diamond paperclip necklaces too. Visit Friend & Company Fine Jewelers Uptown at 7713 Maple Street between Adams and Burdett. Call 504-866-5433 and shop online at friendandcompany.com. Shop for mom at Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. Hardhide Ponchatoula Strawberry Whiskey is an 86 proof blend of aged wheat bourbon, American light whiskey, and fresh Ponchatoula strawberries. Blended in New Orleans, it is not for the thin-skinned. Look for it in your favorite stores, bars, and restaurants. NewOrleans.Football is proud to be sponsored by Firehouse Subs. Make sure you check out their location on Veterans Boulevard. All right, let's get into the show. Make sure you sign up to NewOrleans.Football because starting next week, the live tapings of these shows will be available only to members of our website and then available to the general public later in the day. So make sure you take care of that right now. While you're listening to the show, sign up. Go to NewOrleans.Football/subscribe. Use the code NOF, save 20% on your first payment. All right, it's time to get into our lead topic, and that is presented by Friend & Company Fine Jewelers, the official jewelers of the New Orleans Saints. Mother's Day is coming soon on Sunday, May 12th. Make sure you take care of your mother and the mother of your kids and anyone else that you care about and consider your mom on this Mother's Day. On the screen, there are studs that are under $500 and an emerald and ruby bands at $1,250. Get them today and tell them that NOF sent you.
All right, let's hit it. Lead topic. Which Saints were the biggest draft winners and losers? We've broken down the Saints 2024 draft class and where everybody should pretty much fit. But what about the players on the current roster, the people who are in the building already? Who is going to be the most affected?
I got a lot more winners than losers because they didn't shove a lot of people out of jobs. The first name on my list for winners, though, is Trevor Penning. They drafted a right tackle instead of a left tackle. Trevor Penning, I think, will get a chance to line up at left tackle the first time we see this team at minicamp. I mean, maybe it'll be Oli Udoh because he's a veteran, but they haven't re-signed Andrus Peat. James Hurst retired. I expect that we're going to see, the first-round draft pick at right tackle. I have Trevor Penning and Nick Saldiveri for that matter at left guard. I think these two young guys get a big chance.
I think it makes Derek Carr a winner too. I mean, at least he's not going to see pressure coming at him. He might not see it coming from behind him, but coming off that right side, he's going to have good blocking, so he shouldn't get hurried into anything. So
I have him on this list too. That was kind of like if they had gone pass rusher, because the value was there, it doesn't help Derek Carr. It was the expected move, but he probably gave a little fist pump.
Yeah, I think that makes him a big winner. I think the coaching staff, the offensive coaching staff are winners. They get a guy to develop. They get another tackle that kind of helps them execute their plan a little bit. So I think that makes them pretty good winners on this list. I don't know if there's a lot of runaway guys. I think I don't know. The running backs, I guess, are winners because the offensive line improves. But I don't know if it's improved enough to actually consider them global winners. But draft winners, sure. But I still don't know. If the other side of the line is going to be able to block at all, right. But they can at least run the ball to the right. So, I mean, that's something.
But I put them on there for two reasons, because they also didn't draft a running back. they went best player available at a certain point in this draft. If they had drafted a running back in the first 150 picks, then you wonder, is Kendre Miller really the heir apparent to Alvin Kamara, and is Jamal Williams going to be shoved out of the way? But now Kendre Miller and Jamal Williams get to be those guys who are running behind Taliosa Fuaga. So I think they're winners for two reasons.
The thing that's interesting to me, though, is because I feel like one pick kind of changes the team right now. Like the immediate prospect of the team, I think it changes it right now. I don't know that there's a lot of other picks that they made where I'm like, this changes 24. Yeah. And I love the Kool-Aid pick. But I don't know if adding another cornerback like significantly changes today.
Yeah.
So I don't know that there's a lot of movement on the stock overall. Like I kind of feel like you get like the tally pick changes a couple things, it touches a couple things, and then who knows. Well,
my other winners are guys whose jobs didn't change. I have Jawan Johnson and Foster Moreau on here. I have Peyton Turner and Isaiah Foskey on here. I mean, they draft Brock Bowers, or they draft Sanat from Kansas State, or was he? No, where was he from? Kansas State, is that right? The tight end. That went late second round. Then maybe Jawan Johnson and Foster Moreau. It's like, guys, do it. Like, step up. I mean, it doesn't mean they're going to do it, but nobody is supplanting them. And Peyton Turner and Isaiah Foskey, same thing. If that had been a Leatu Latu pick or a Dallas Turner pick, maybe Peyton Turner and Isaiah Foskey don't get the chance they're going to have now. So a lot of my winners were guys at the positions they didn't pick, which is almost every position, because they hit corner with their second pick and they hit quarterback with their third pick. Two guys who we don't expect to necessarily supplant starters when they first get.
And then I think Nathan Shepard's another one. They didn't replace the 3-tech, so I think he's a winner of this draft. And then even then, the guy they drafted, it knows I think is a little bit raw. Boyd, I think he's going to be really good in time, but I think he's a little bit raw. So even if they go out in free agency and they sign another 3-tech, I think that probably puts Shep it knows, and then you got a different guy at 3. So I think Shepard's a winner here too. I don't think his job's in danger at all from any direction. So I think he's in pretty good shape. Losers.
There's a couple obvious ones.
I'm not going to call anyone a loser. I don't think he's a loser by any sense, and I don't necessarily know that he's losing his job. But I think Alontae Taylor has to compete now with somebody to keep his job on the inside. I think, for my money, I know DA said he's going to start him on the outside and then move him inside. For my money, I think Kool-Aid's here to play nickel. I think he's going to be the nickel, and in time, maybe he moves outside. I think it's the opposite. I think it's starting inside, and then later on he moves to the outside when someone moves on. But I think starting day one in camp, I think he's battling with Alontae for that slot job.
Especially if Marshawn Lattimore and Paulson Adebo are here. That changes things. But that even hurts Alontae Taylor in that sense, because we've been saying all along, if the Saints do trade Marshawn Lattimore, one silver lining could be Alontae Taylor moves back to his natural position at outside corner where we think he could thrive more. Well, now, even if they trade Marshawn Lattimore, maybe Kool-Aid would get to be the outside. Yeah, I mean, you're right. Maybe Alontae would go outside.
I think Kool-Aid will be better on the inside, and I think Alontae goes to the outside. I don't think that means that he's the better outside. I think it's just your configuration.
Yeah.
And we're completely projecting on Kool-Aid here. He might have the same struggles going inside that Alontae did.
But regardless, Alontae already had one too many guys in front of him, and now he might have two guys in front of him.
No doubt.
Or at least he's competing not to be fourth in the pecking order. And then the other obvious one is Jake Haener, who, look, Jake Haener could still win the backup job this year. Spencer Rattler could take some time to develop, to learn the system. Spencer Rattler, I think he will learn this system pretty well, because he's been in two different pro-style systems in the last 3 years of college, first with Lincoln Riley and then last year with Dowell Loggins in South Carolina. He's been in 3 different systems the last 3 years, but he's always been taught in a pro style. So I think the transition will be pretty smooth for him. But this is a system he hasn't run yet, a variation of the Kubiak-Shanahan system. And so it will take a little getting used to for him, Jake Haener. But it felt like they were sort of anointing Jake Haener the backup before he had ever really even gotten an opportunity. And now all of a sudden, not only will he have more competition for the backup role, he's not even the young developmental guy anymore. He's got a guy a couple years younger than him with more upside now. So he's on that list.
Absolutely the hardest hit of anybody here.
And then Nathan Peterman and Kellen Mond too, of course.
Obviously. Yeah, I mean, but they're off the team right now for me. Like they picked Spencer, and yeah, both those guys are immediately gone for me.
Yeah.
I don't know that I got anyone else is a major loser. Like Bob Means comes in, but there's room on the roster for him. I mean, I guess maybe like St. Brown and some of them other guys like might see a little bit of competition now that they wouldn't have. I wasn't considering them locks for the team by any means. So.
I got a couple that I had to stretch for. Pete Werner and Willie Gay Jr. only in the sense that those guys are heading into the last year of their contract, and we thought they were kind of battling for which guy are they going to extend, which guy's going to be DeMario Davis's heir apparent, and then they go and draft a pretty polished linebacker from Texas in round 5, which doesn't automatically mean that he's going to supplant Pete Werner and that's Jalen Ford, but it's another guy at their position. You could almost say Marshawn Lattimore and Paulson Adebo. Drafting Kool-Aid McKinstry makes it a little less likely that they're going to continue to pay those guys in future years. Does that affect offering Paulson Adebo a contract extension? Maybe not, but those are the only other guys that I kind of had to stretch. There aren't a lot of guys who lost their jobs, as you said up top.
Going to the chat, Matt says, a winner that we didn't mention was Isaiah Foskey. I think, in a certain sense, he kind of did win. And then...
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'd consider him a bit of a winner here.
Yeah,
he didn't get the same level of competition. Yeah.
And then Beckett Howarth said that Houghton is also a big winner because...
Maybe.
I have him in a separate category, and is it going to be... I put TBD Jordan Houghton.
Maybe.
Is it for the exact reason that you're about to say?
Well, what's your reason?
That... Since they completely whiffed on safety in the draft, they might have to go and sign a veteran.
Yeah, or it's always possible if Alante's great in the slot, like maybe Kool-Aid plays safety. So I mean, I don't necessarily know that he's a winner.
Yeah, the versatility of Kool-Aid just makes this a whole the entire secondary. You never know where we're going to end up, when camp is over with. But it's time to roll on to our money segment presented by Jefferson Financial Federal Credit Union. And let's talk money downs. Let's talk money downs inside the red zone in particular. Who's catching touchdown passes for this team next season? Derek Carr threw 25, which is on the higher end for his career. And the team actually threw a total of 28. You throw Taysom in there. He got to do his thing.
Jameis had a couple.
Yeah.
Couple memorable ones.
Yeah, you can't forget. Yeah, Minnesota. Jameis just throwing it up there, doing his thing, doing that thing he does, as they say.
That one made me stand up. It was just I could not believe what had just happened. That was the greatest touchdown pass I've ever seen. That was the best. What was it? Like a 72-yard, 20-yard pass?
Fastball. A 72-yard fastball.
Time stood still. It was just
I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah. So let's do some over-unders and see who will, be over or be under. Let's go one by one. Let's start with you, Nick.
Well, hold up. Are we going over or under 25 on Carr?
Well, I'm going to go over 25, but here's the weirdest thing about Carr's career. 25 seems low, doesn't it? I mean, your natural inclination is that 25 seems low. Let's go back. 24 the year before, 23 the year before, 27 the year before, 21 the year before, 19 the year before, 22 the year before. In the last 7 seasons, he's only hit 25 twice. 28 the year before that, 21 his rookie year. He's only hit 30 once in his career. So I also think he should get to 30 touchdown passes, but history and last year say don't absolutely count on it. So I think 30 is kind of the ceiling we should be working under if we're betting on over-unders. But I'll say over 25.
Ben Roethlisberger's stats. Ben never threw for 30 touchdowns. And
Crazy.
when you go look that up, it's are you serious?
Yeah.
I mean, it seems 30 seems just kind of like a baseline number.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit surprising. Yeah. So I'll take the under on it.
You'll take the under on 25 or the under on 30?
Under on 30.
Yeah, over 25. Somewhere in that range, probably. 25-ish.
26.5.
Yep.
I don't know what it is, but yeah, somewhere in there. Sure, somewhere in there for sure.
Okay, so I set these numbers. So I'm Vegas here. I thought about going 0.5 on these numbers so that we could have real answers, but I want to stump you. These are my I feel good about all 5 of these that are on the screen right now, and I want to see if you feel differently about any of them.
I'm going to go under on 7 on Olave. I mean, he's just never 5 is his high right now. So I'm going to go under on 7. I definitely think it's possible that he could have the big breakout type season or whatever, touchdown wise. It would be great to see it, but I just don't know that he's going to be that red zone type threat ever. Yeah. It's just kind of you need to have that a little bit. So I'm going to say under on 7. If you had said
6.5 is what I started writing, and then I
think it's a little bit more difficult at 6.5 because I want to give him 1 or 2 based on just kind of like that middle season dip, and just considering he flattens that out. So I want to give him a couple.
Chris Olave can't easily catch 8 touchdown passes. I know he's not a red zone threat. He is a deep threat. They're supposed to do better with yards after the catch. I mean, I'm projecting 7. I thought 6.5 would be too easy. I thought we'd all 3 of us would say over, even though we had 4 as a rookie and 5 last year.
7 just makes it a little bit tougher because you got to get to 8. You got to get to 8. Yeah,
exactly.
7 feels like the right number. It's just kind of give him a
I'll
couple.
be disappointed if he can't get to 7 this year, though. I think that'll be a failure of imagination of the coaching staff if they can't get a guy that talented in the end zone 7 times. Over under? Brandon?
Pump me up. Pump me up.
All right.
New offense, new protection, able to coordinate with Derek more this offseason. I'm rolling with the over on that. Being adventurous, but I'm rolling with the over. Let's go to Rashid Shaheed.
I put 5, which is what he had last year. I thought about putting 4.5, but I was worried everybody would say over. What do you got?
I got the over on that. I think I got the over on that. I mean, couple bombs. I think they're going to be a little bit more bombs away. Some of the play action stuff, I think will suit him well. Play action to set up them deep shots. I think I'll take over on the 5 just off of explosives. I think he ends up getting there.
All right, I want to be Vegas here and count my 5, but if I had to pick over under on 5, I guess I'd pick under. It feels like it has to be deep ball or bust for him, and it's hard to count on 6 deep balls. But hopefully they'll be more inventive than that.
You never know how Kubiak is gonna use him and his speed. I mean, he's a great 9-route guy, but this is I've been doing the same thing for the last 2 years. Let's see what else I got in the tank. So I'll have to roll with the over on this. I think he'll roll with the over.
And every once in a while, Derek Carr will just say, "Just run." that was still the highlight of the whole season, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Week 1.
Yeah.
It was Shangri-La, man.
All right, now let's go Jawan Johnson.
I like the number 5. That would be my projection. He had 7 2 years ago, so we thought he was going to break out last year, and he dipped back down to 4, even though he had a bigger role than ever before. They did not draft another big, obvious red zone target. They didn't sign a big, obvious red zone target in free agency. He should still get the opportunity. I like 5, but I'm not going over 5. If I have to choose over under 5, I'll go under 5. 6 is a hard number for me to project after what we saw last year.
Yeah, I got the under on this.
Yeah, I got the under also. If you're going to have more touchdowns from Olave and Shaheed, somebody got to, bite the bullet. And I think Jawan is going to bite the bullet.
He should. Gosh. He needs to. He needs to get back to the promise he showed 2 years ago.
It feels like he should be able to have 500 yards and 8 touchdowns. It feels like he should be able to do that.
He practically did that 2 years ago in a
with Andy
role.
Dalton. Yeah. Now let's go to AK. 3.
He's been more all over the map. He's hit 5 3 times in his career, but he's also hit 1 or 2 3 times in his career. He had 1 last year, 2 the year before. So 3 felt like the right over under to me, and I'm going to say I'm going to say. Well, I think he's going to get 3. Do I think he's going to get 4? I think they're going to get creative with Alvin Kamara. I'm going to go over 3.
So I'm looking at it. I just wanted to see. I mean, 19 he had 1, but every other year it was creative, and then Sean leaves, and it's 2 and it's 1. I think that it's going to be more creative. I'm going to take. I would take a push here, but I mean, you got to stand on something. So I'll say over just because I think they're going to be more creative in it with his role.
Yeah, I agree with all the same points you made. I'm going with the over. And then finally, A.T. Perry.
I set it at 3, even though he had 4 last year on just 18 catches.
Yeah.
I guess I should have gone over, but they don't have Jameis anymore. Jameis was the one throwing half of its touchdown passes to him. So I set it at 3, which I feel good about. I would take over instead of under if I had to, but I'm not. I got to see how much this guy really gets used. I'm actually a little more bullish on Cedric Wilson right now when I look at this depth chart, but I could be underestimating A.T. Perry right now.
He's 6'4". Just off of that, I feel like he's going to get some.
And they did not, they didn't supplant him.
It's like someone has to jump up and catch the ball at some point. I'm going to go over. I'm going over, and I don't think I should. I think I'm going to be wrong on it, but it's just kind of like. One of the tall guys has to overperform a little bit, and I think it's going to be him.
Now, I'm rolling on that ledge with you, man. I think with Mike out of the building, AT is going to step up, and he's going to fill out those shoes or surpass him. Well, surpassing him is kind of far, but I think he'll fill out those shoes and go the over. Let's hit some quick rapid-fire ones between y'all two. Surpassing 2 touchdowns. Foster Moreau. Over under.
I think he should be able to. God, he caught a lot of touchdowns from from Derek Carr when they were in Vegas together. But no, I mean, we went over on a few people. He's the guy who gets stuck at 2, I think.
Stuck at 2? I'll say stuck at 2. He was hurt last year. He had cancer. I mean, still had a touchdown. Could have had. I'm going to take the over. I'm going to take the over on Foster.
All right.
He is a guy who, I put him in my winners in the previous segment since they didn't draft him. I mean, he should have an opportunity to play a much bigger role on offense than he did last year.
All right, let's hit Cedric Wilson. Mike, you kind of alluded to him.
Yeah, same thing. I'm not going to go over 2 on him, but I like his opportunity here. He's a guy I'd like to buy cheap stock on right now.
I'm on Mike.
You Mike. Bud Means, new guy. Under.
Yeah, I can't get there. I can't get there because of especially if our total is under 30 total for this team. I like Cedric Wilson and A.T. Perry's opportunities more than his right now, but he has the chance. If he looks good right away, those are easy guys to surpass.
Kind of a interesting one right here. Kendre Miller, but let's go how many games he plays first.
I'm going to say over for Kendre. Over 2?
Over 2?
Over 2. I'm going to say over 2. Yeah, I think they're going to get him involved. I think he's going to have a decent role. I'll say over 15 games. Or set the line at 15. Set the line at 15.
That's big.
Okay. Yeah, I'll set the line at 15.
I wouldn't take the over on any running back in the NFL at 15 games, but hopefully he's way over what he was last year. I'd be happy with over 12, to be honest with you, after what we saw last year. If he's over 15, this could be a special year for him. If he's over 15, I'll take over 2, but I'm not going to take over 2 right now.
Not counting victory formations, Jamal Williams.
Under.
I gotta be fair. I gotta be realistic.
He's gonna get over 2 touchdown runs this year. Over 2 touchdowns total, but not catches.
Under.
Taysom.
No, I don't think he
receiving.
Did it.
Yeah, receiving.
One year
under.
he had like 7.
Yeah,
but
under.
he doesn't routinely catch a lot of touchdowns.
And then anybody else you think will step up? Practice squad.
I don't think we missed anyone.
UDFAs.
A tight end to be named later, anything like that.
Anything?
No. I think we've got Derek Carr up to about 38 now, so we better stop.
Yeah, we juiced him for sure. But what y'all should do is juice the subscriber numbers and subscribe to NewOrleans.Football. We're going to hit a quick break. Stick around, and we'll be right back after these words from our sponsors.
Shrimp Remoulade combos are back at New Orleans Hamburger and Seafood Company. Zesty shrimp remoulade served with fried shrimp, catfish, or soft-shell crab starting at $10.99. Or try one of our spring specials, catfish beef or lemon caper fish with crab meat. Now at New Orleans Hamburger and Seafood Company.
Are you tired of renting and ready to own your dream home? Contact Jefferson Financial Federal Credit Union, your trusted source for home loans. Our competitive rates and flexible terms can help make your home ownership dreams a reality. If you're a first-time home buyer or looking to refinance, our experienced lenders are here to help. Our online application process allows you to apply on your schedule. It's quick, easy, and convenient. Visit us online at jeffersonfinancial.org to learn more. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
Martin Wine and Spirits is home to a selection of hand-picked barrel select bourbon, whiskeys, and much, much more. They are family owned and operated since 1946 and specialize in wine, spirits, gourmet food, gift baskets, catering, and tasting events. They have many locations, so they're never too far away. You can check them out in Metairie, New Orleans, Mandeville, and Baton Rouge, or if it's more convenient, you can always shop online. Whether you're a wine novice or a seasoned collector, you'll enjoy the Martin Wine and Spirit experience.
Welcome back to our new studio on Veterans Memorial Boulevard. It's now time for our Hard High Ponchatoula segment. So let's go. Today is the first day of May, which means we're about to actually start seeing these guys practice. This might be a little back to the lead topic, but who are a handful of players we think will really have a strong performance throughout OTAs?
So who needs to have a strong performance?
Needs to have a strong performance.
Yeah. It is a lot of the same names for me.
We'll start at the top. I mean, it's obviously Trevor Penning is the first major name that I think everybody's looking at. He has to have a good training camp. He has to have a good summer. I think he just needs to set the stage and get some momentum rolling right away. I don't know how you actually prove that you're having a good, but like I think with him, it's just like, are you taking the right steps? Are you doing things in sync? Are you in rhythm? Is it confident? Is it with knowledge? Is it, all that stuff? And I think you can grade some of that stuff. And I think just anything he can do that can get a plus next to his name, he needs to be doing that stuff.
Couldn't agree more. First name on my list. Look, we talked a lot about some guys that are in job battles, and you could list anyone in a job battle, but this guy's in a career battle. I mean, like he needs to prove this offense is going to be the right light bulb moment for him. It's incredibly important. And yeah, even though we won't be able to tell how good he's doing necessarily with the naked eye, showing he's grasping this offense and taking the right steps, making the right reads, making the right decisions, looking comfortable, all of that is important in May and June for him. I got, and same token, I got Peyton Turner and Isaiah Foskey next, 2 young guys who haven't clicked yet. Obviously, it's only year 2 for Foskey, and it's year 4 for Peyton Turner. But those are 2 guys who are going to be left by the wayside if this isn't the summer for them. They need to take really big strides.
I think one for me is Alontae Taylor. I think he needs to show up and just kind of set the right tone. I think it would be really good for him to show that he's just like fully bought into that interior slot position and that he's willing to just kind of identify with it and embrace it as his role. It took him a little while last year to get to that point. He wasn't thinking that way throughout the summer. He wasn't thinking that way early in the season, and then he told us to kind of like switch for him at a certain point last year. I think if he's going into this whole year kind of seeing it that way, envisioning it that way, training that way, saying, "Hey, look, I'm a slot corner." Like I think that would go a long way, and just kind of demonstrating that right from the very beginning, I think would be a really good thing for him. And I think he needs to show that. I think Nick Saldiveri is one who needs to kind of hit the ground running, just to close the door on anybody else that's kind of coming for his spot. They added some vets there, so that would be a good one. I think Pete Werner. I mean, I think it's on him. I think it's imperative for him to have a good summer and make sure that Willie Gay can't get that momentum. Yeah,
Micah Hudson drafted Jalen Ford. Yeah, nothing's being handed to Pete Werner.
Nothing at all. So I think I think there's a lot for him.
Jordan Howden's probably on my list too. He's going to get every opportunity. He might be lining up with the starters on the first day of OTAs and minicamp. He needs to prove that they don't need to dip into that veteran safety market. So he's kind of working against the clock here. He needs to look like a guy who's already taking that year 2 developmental leap.
How about Derek Carr? I mean, new system. He's struggled in the new system early on. Every single time he's had a new offensive coordinator, just cut that down. Like, look good, be comfortable, be doing stuff in rhythm, all that stuff right away. I mean, I think that would be huge for him, even just to have that confidence of just feeling good in the stuff that he's doing from a very early date.
Absolutely.
Going back to you, Nick, the chat is agreeing with you. They're saying Nick Saldiveri, Cesar Reese, and just the offensive line in general has to have a big camp. Also, the edge rushers need to show up in camp.
No question.
No doubt about it. I mean,
we won't see Chase Young yet, which is a disappointment, but
I don't think we'll see Kool-Aid either. He just had surgery on that Jones fracture, so he's going to be out, I think, for a little bit, but we'll see him, maybe mini camp, but that's probably pushing it. Probably more like training camp when we see him back out there doing it. So, I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's hard to judge the edge guys. There's no pads, so it's kind of hard to see. But yeah, I mean, just anything that they can do where they're being graded. Just
same thing we said about Penning. Look comfortable, look confident, look like you know where you're going, look like you're playing fast and not thinking too much. All of that stuff, especially for Foskey, because those were his downfalls last summer.
Yeah. A couple of updates today. The Saints agreed to a 1-year deal with former Lions defensive back Will Harris. Also, our guy Nick Underhill reported that the undrafted rookie Jermaine Jackson signed for $160,000 in guarantees with the Saints, which at this point is the highest that we've seen so far with the UDFA. So what are your thoughts on these moves that the Saints have been making the last couple of days?
Yeah, so I think Will Harris has more value on special teams than Ugo, so I think he kind of gives them some value there, and that probably gives him an inside track on a roster spot if you're just handicapping it today. He's kind of like PJ Williams a bit. He can kind of do a lot of different stuff, play in the slot, can do a lot of different things. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I think he can be able to do and just kind of give more value. So I think he has a decent chance of making the team just as that kind of veteran safety that they tend to bring in every year that ends up making the team.
Yeah, I think his versatility, special teams is how he'll see the field, but knowing that they have the backup at like 5 different positions, that always helps. And there is a lot of opportunities after they let Lonnie Johnson Jr. and Isaac Yadam go, and Am I crazy, or is there one more? I'm drawing a blank right here on the air, but there's opportunities for veteran do-everything guys in the secondary for sure. I was thinking, Jermaine Jackson was the highest we've seen so far. I think Dallin Holker's going to come in, the tight end, even higher when that contract is finalized. But I think that money stood out for Jermaine Jackson. They didn't just recruit him based on, hey, this is where Rashid Shaheed and Deontay are. And you put that kind of money into somebody, you might have a vision. And with the possibility of 2 kick returners being something that they use with the new kickoff rule, we cannot sleep on Jermaine Jackson on this team. His numbers already jumped off the page anyway, but this just adds to it.
Yeah, money talks for sure.
Yeah, money talks always, dog. All right, let's go into our Martin's questions of the day. Martin's is home to a wide selection of hand-picked barrel-select bourbon, whiskeys, and more. Martin's, so much more than just wine. This one is about the veteran free agent market and kind of where you see the Saints going. Saints guy asks, do you think there is any player who is still not in the building who will make the impact in 2024?
Yeah, but I don't know who it is yet, and I think it's definitely possible that they sign like a defensive lineman, maybe an interior guy that could make an impact on the team. So I think the door's still open there. So I'm not going to close the door on it. I think it's still something they need. I thought maybe it would have been a safety. I think they're probably done at that position, but I think the door's open on somebody still coming in.
I'm going to give 2 answers here. One is, somebody not in the building can make an impact the same way that you sign a Ugo Amadi Isaac got him to a under the radar deal and end up playing a bigger role. But I'm starting to believe that this team is just not going to sign anyone at that. I mean, I don't even know if Andrus Pete's coming. I don't think a safety's coming. Like I don't think this team's going to spend money anywhere on somebody who's going to be penciled in as like a starter or key backup at this point. I think I'm starting. Obviously, it's possible, especially if injuries creep up. But I'm starting to think what you see is mostly what you get in the starting lineup in the 2 deep right now.
Let's add on to that. What person that the Saints have added into the building so far do you think will have the most impact? Thinking somebody maybe like Willie Gay, not even the draft picks, just like the free agent signings.
Hopefully Chase Young. I mean, like we're leery of how healthy he's going to be after he had the neck surgery, but I mean, hopefully it's him. He's the guy that they paid the most money to. He's the guy they needed most. I mean, if we're not counting draft picks, I mean, it's Bulaga and Chase Young are the only headliners they really brought in here to help this team this year.
Yeah, if it's not Chase Young, things have gone bad.
Yeah.
So it has to be Chase Young.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate y'all for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe because starting next week, the people who are subscribed will be able to catch our thoughts a little bit earlier than the people who aren't. That'll do it for this episode of NewOrleans.Football. Catch you next time.